Tell me if you relate to any of these statements. My career is not exactly in the right place today. So, yeah. Or I think I know what I want for my career. And I should really get on that at some point. Or I don't like to worry a whole lot. I just go with the flow. I go into work every day. I do my best and it all works out. All of these statements are fairly innocuous. Like, what's the big deal to be thinking this way or talking this way? But a consistent pattern of thinking along these lines could be a sign that a specific part of your brain is taking over and derailing your career in the process. So, we need to talk about it. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Careers and Companies on the Upmarket channel. My name is Larry, and in today's video, I want to press pause for just a second and do a check on our mindset in preparation for the next round of videos that I've got cooking. I brought this topic up in a small part of a video early in this channel's existence, and I thought I would backtrack to make a dedicated video on the subject because it's going to form a sort of halo over a bunch of future content. Have you ever heard of the expression the lizard brain? Now, it's been around since the 1990s, but it was made popular more recently by Seth Godin in his best selling book about how to achieve career success by becoming a linchpin in organizations. It's one of the classics. It's a worthwhile read. You should go check it out. One of the best books on advice for career management. If you don't know who Seth Godin is, he's a best selling author, he's a marketer, and he's an entrepreneur in the tech space. By the way, before we get going, please understand that if you tell somebody they operate with a lizard brain or they have a lizard brain or they are a lizard brain, it's not intended to be a diss. But what you are doing is calling out a specific mindset that is natural in all of us. It's a part of our evolution, which is where the idea of the lizard comes from. We get there by default. And in this video, I want to briefly explain what the lizard brain is and why I'm even bringing it up, given the nature of this channel and our content. Although our understanding of the brain has expanded significantly over the past few decades, it is not wrong to separate all brain activity into one of three systems. The one we want to focus on in this video is the first one that we evolved with, and that is our reptilian brain, aka the lizard brain. It's the area around the brainstem that works on autopilot to regulate our body systems, control our primal needs for food, water, defense, sex, those sorts of things. It also controls our habits once we form them. The other two systems are our limbic system, which governs emotions, motivation, and memory. And then we have our cerebral cortex, which separates us from animals, allowing us to think, plan, reason, and speak. So we all have this lizard part of our brain. The question becomes, is this a problem? Now, I wouldn't consider the reptilian part of our brain an outright threat, but because of the way it operates, it can interfere with many aspects of our life and our career. Here's why. Number one, it asserts a lot of influence over general brain operations. Because it's so close to the spinal cord, it engages really quickly whenever there is something in the environment that doesn't seem quite right, it's a little bit off, and it needs a response. Then, secondly, it riles up our limbic system, which is our emotions. Thirdly, the thinking part of our brain, the cortex, gets activated, sometimes up to a 3 second delay or more. That is a lot of time for general brain operations. But already our primal instincts are activated, they are fueled by our emotion, and only the strongest minds, the strongest thinking minds, can overcome these two powerful forces when they're operating in tandem. Second, it values safety and comfort and the status quo, largely out of fear or a general aversion to anything it hasn't seen before or understands. No risk taking, you lock into your current patterns, you do not deviate. Simplicity is good, new and different is bad. And your cortex, well, it just plays along. Because when it comes to thinking,
What, like it's hard?
third, it operates on instinct, and its instinct is to react. But if there's nothing to react to, it's a lizard. It just hangs out. Go with the flow, don't do anything crazy. Let's just chill and take it easy. What it's not doing, that part of your brain, is planning, organizing, assessing a situation, anticipating, rationalizing, analyzing. None of those things are happening. Just operate in the moment. And it's not until there's a real problem, which is usually a crisis, will that part of your brain activate. And when it does, it's primal. So it's all intense fight or flight, or sometimes freeze out of fear that it often has because it has a lack of practice in engaging the cortex to override the situation. So when the reptilian part of our brain is taking over, this is what you're left with. We go with the flow, which seems really cool, but we're not anticipating, we're not looking around and assessing our environment. We only deal with situations once they happen, or oftentimes once they become a crisis. Until that point, we freeze or we avoid for as long as we can. And once that's no longer possible, once we are confronted with no other alternatives, we get defensive and the primal instincts kick in again and we fight. Let me know in the comments if you're seeing this more and more personally or professionally. This happens to me with students. There will be, for example, a problem within a group on a group assignment that happens all the time. I am the type of person who supports a group when they have that problem. I don't just say, "Deal with it." I want to coach them on conflict resolution because it's a skill that I think people need coaching in and they need to develop. It will help them in the workplace. But still, they will message me 5 minutes before the assignment is due and say, "Oh, we have this crisis. We've been having this group issue going on for the last week and a half." Too late. Not much that I can do. I'm seeing this a lot. Now let's take this analogy into the workplace and we'll understand how the lizard brain can work against us there. What is work life like for most of us? We get up, we go to work, and we just survive. We have too much to do, we're overwhelmed, so we retreat into this reptilian dominant behavior. We make the best out of our day, we only serve the coworkers who are the most in our face. We solve for the status quo, we solve for just getting by. We solve to just get back a little bit of peace, just some normalcy for however many minutes that we can cause that until the next threat hits us, and then we react to that. But let me give you some specific examples of workplace behaviors and mindsets that are symptomatic of the lizard brain. We subconsciously assume that our employer will keep us on until we quit. We subconsciously assume that if we do a good job for a couple of years, then we are going to get promoted. We subconsciously assume that our employer is developing us to make us more valuable in our careers in and outside of the organization. We don't properly build a killer resume. And how do you build a killer resume? By not looking backwards, by looking forward. The way you make an awesome resume is to imagine what you want your resume to say in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and then being intentional about making that happen. But what do? We wait until we need a job. We look backwards and we go, oh, this is what I've done in the past. I hope it's good. How can I make this look really good in a resume so that employers will like it? Too late. You wanna operate ahead of the game and make sure when it comes time to get a job, you've already got amazing bullet points that you can type up and showcase. We don't network until we need something. This one drives me crazy. I will do separate videos on all these things. Networking will be the subject of one video, but we wait until we need something. Networking is not transactional. You build a network through a series of interactions over time, and it's not until you've built a strong relationship and a reputation can you draw from your network. So going to a networking meeting and saying, "Hi, nice to meet you. Can you do something for me?" rarely works. So please don't do that. You have to think ahead. Here's another one that's really common. We do not ensure that we get an excellent annual performance appraisal. So when our lizard brain is dominating, how do we operate? As I said earlier, we go into work, we survive, we try to keep our nose clean, don't get into trouble, do what our manager tells us. Just try our best on a daily basis, and hopefully being a good soldier is going to be enough. So at the end of the year, we cross our fingers and wait for what we're going to be told in that performance appraisal meeting, and we hope that it's glowing. And if it's not, our lizard brain activates again, fight or flight. We leave the company, or we complain vehemently and we try to fight the assessment. Too late. I'm going to produce a separate video on this. It's going to be called, I think, How to Train Your Manager to Like You. And it's all the things you can do throughout the year to make sure that you get a great appraisal. Let me give you a short form now, and this would apply really well to somebody who's doing an internship or if you're working on contract and you want to be kept on. Go to your supervisor, whoever is assessing you early on in the term, and ask them, what would my performance need to be? What would I need to achieve for you to want to keep me on? Chances are they're not going to have an answer for you because they haven't thought about it. They have lizard brain. They are going to wait till the end of the year, the end of the term, the end of the contract to think about your performance. That's not helpful for you. So take control of the situation. Deactivate your lizard brain, deactivate the autopilot that I have on the sign there, and be intentional earlier on in the term. And if you can't get something out of them, give them some time, maybe do a follow-up meeting like a week or 2 later. They'll probably have to think about it and come up with something, and even if they don't, come up with some things yourself. What are you being asked to do? Brainstorm some ways that you can exceed expectations and present that to them at the end of your contract or the end of your internship. And that will greatly increase your chances of being kept on. So that's just a sample. In future videos on specific topics around finding a job and managing your career, I will draw comparisons between the intentional brain and the lizard brain mindsets so that you'd be exposed to additional arguments on why it's oftentimes better to be intentional, which is one of the themes on this entire channel. There are many things to observe about the direction that the world is taking. I'm going to produce a separate video on just that sometime in the next 4 to 6 weeks. There's lots to be optimistic about, but what I'm most concerned with is the dangers that lurk in our path. Now, these are issues that the lizard brain will not bother with, but these dangers are real and they did not exist in the past. Now, when it comes to our health and our careers and our finances, there's no longer a default template for life that's going to ensure our well being, never mind our success. Employers are replacing humans with non-humans, and those who are remaining and are still employed are not guaranteed to keep that status. Wealth accumulation is now greatly impeded by the soaring cost of daily living over and above the lack of access to affordable homes to be able to own and live in. And sadly, you can't be sure that there's going to be any supports for you in retirement, even if you are allowed to retire at any time in your life. Depending on where you live, there may be some, but I really wouldn't count on much. The population is aging, fewer people are going to be working and contributing to the pot. Heck, even the food in our grocery stores you cannot count on to support your health. Our water supply in some cities is in danger, and then you have the world's biggest tech companies stealing our sanity and baiting our constant attention with divisive and outrageous content. Oh my God, you guys, I'm being really depressing right now. I'm so sorry. My goal is to be inspirational on this channel. This will be one of the very few times when I'm going to pause and put a pin on the inspiration and call out some of the dire aspects of the circumstances that we are currently in and where we are headed, because I think it's important now more than ever to jolt our brains into a different mode of operating. You see, the lizard brain just can't get by in the way that it used to. So putting your head down, making your world small, facing only what's in front of you and blocking everything else out, and just trusting that society's systems have your back, you just can't. Current conditions demand that we think just a little bit about what we want out of life and take some actions to get there, just a few, if we want to have any chance of having it. Or you can just go with the flow and see how that works out for you. See how the current flow of society is just going to set you adrift. Everyone, my message to you is really simple. I want you all to notice, this channel is very much about noticing when your lizard brain is running the show, how you bypass taking control of certain aspects of your career and your life to, I don't know, go with the flow or live in the moment. Now, I don't want to criticize that, because living in the moment and being present is absolutely necessary in life and certainly beneficial, unless that's all you do. Now, I talked about this in the motivation videos that I posted previously, but I want to remind you again, please be mindful of your inclinations to make your world small and to seek comfort. Now, this entices you with a false promise of safety, but it will deny you personal growth. It will deny you success. It will deny you opportunities. There is a Stoic expression that I'm going to take liberties with, but it basically says that nothing unexpected will happen to a person who's paying attention. So that's my appeal to you. Do you want to pay attention and have all of your bases covered? Or do you want to hunker down and wait for bombs, which is what a lot of people are doing? Small wonder, we are also anxious. Well, being intentional is your antidote. In videos to come, and really what this whole channel is about, I will assist you with this thought process and also help you streamline it. I will give you new ways to think about your life and your career, your success, and even your happiness. You don't have to do everything I recommend, but if you can find just a few things to be more conscious of and deliberate about, that's the win. There's a lot of security in life that can come from within. I'm going to help you tap into that. Despite my warnings and all the doom and gloom, I have to say there is so much to look forward to in life and plenty of opportunities before us. Let's work together to seize even one of those, and then we will invest a minimal amount of thought and put in the work to take advantage. Step by step, little by little, keep it moving, as we say at Upmarket. We are here to support. Are you ready to go? So are we. Stay connected. We got plans. Like, comment, subscribe, share, ask a question. Lots more to come on this channel as we lay the foundation for a more successful career and a happier life. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time.